Hito Bashira castles in Japan, during the Warring States period, were not just symbols of power, but were also strategic structures meant to withstand attacks and natural disasters. However, beneath the stone and timber of these fortresses is a chilling practice known as Hito Bashira, or human pillars. It is a form of ritual sacrifice where people are buried alive within the foundations of castles and other significant buildings. It was believed that their spirits would appease the gods, ward off evil, and protect the structure from calamities such as floods, earthquakes, or enemy sieges. One of the most infamous cases of Hito Bashira is that of Oshizu, a one-eyed woman who met a tragic fate during the construction of Maoka Castle in 1576, located in modern-day Sakai City. Legend has it that the castle walls were always collapsing during construction. Feeling hopeless, the builders went to this barbaric ritual. Oshizu was willing to be sacrificed on one bitter condition: the lord of the castle must make one of her children a samurai, thus giving them a better life. Oshizu agreed to let herself be entombed alive, wrapped in stones as the foundation of the castle was being laid. The rite seemed to pay off. The walls finally stood firm. Oshizu's sacrifice, however, was betrayed. The lord who promised her children elevation to samurai status was soon transferred to another province, and her children orphaned, and the wish remained unfulfilled. Even to this day, the locals claim that Oshizu's spirit is still lingering around the castle. According to the legends, her tears are said to overflow the moat of the castle during heavy spring rains, and some believe they can still hear her cries echoing through the night. Her story remains a haunting reminder of the human cost hidden in Japan's historical grandeur. Shimo. In Edo era. Japan, human waste was not just something that came along with the daily routine, but a highly valuable resource. Shimo, or human feces and urine, were used by farmers as natural fertilizers for their crops. Recycling waste into agriculture was not only an innovative solution for the time, but was also the cornerstone of Edo's unique sanitation system. Farmers around Edo, modern-day Tokyo, were keen to buy shimo from landlords who owned communal housing units known as nagaya. These landlords would collect waste from their tenants' shared toilets and sell it to farmers, turning poop into literal profit. In fact, some landlords earned more money from selling their tenants' waste than from the rent they charged. Even the system had a hierarchy of quality. Waste from the rich lords, who only consumed the best, was considered premium-grade fertilizer and brought higher prices. This exchange benefited everyone. The farmer received an effective and plentiful fertilizer, while the city remained remarkably clean. Not like many European cities, which dumped waste into waterways, Edo's waste management was one of the cleanest pre-industrial cities worldwide. Its pristine waterways provided residents with clean drinking water, avoiding the regular outbreaks of disease elsewhere. However, working with untreated human waste posed serious risks for farmers. Exposure to parasites, bacteria, and other pathogens was a constant hazard, leading to widespread health issues among those handling shimo. Moreover, the stench of the fields must have been unbearable, adding to the challenges of this unusual agricultural practice. Despite its disadvantages, the shimo system continued to be used until the early 20th century, when commercial fertilizers became available, ending this interesting chapter of sustainable, albeit risky, farming in Japan's history. Higassen. In the 1600s, an unknown Japanese artist created a series of scrolls that captured an unusual and highly entertaining subject: epic fart battles. Known as Higassen, which translates to fart battle, these scrolls humorously depict people weaponizing flatulence in increasingly absurd and creative ways. While the idea of fart warfare might seem bizarre today, these scrolls offer a rare glimpse into the comedic side of Japanese art during the Edo period. The scenes in the Higassen scrolls are as ridiculous as they are imaginative. One illustration features two men engaging in a flatulence beam battle, their gaseous attacks colliding mid-air to launch an unsuspecting victim skyward. Another shows a man breaking through a wall with his fart, ambushing two people on the other side. There's even a scene where one group uses fans to redirect their opponent's flatulence back at them in what appears to be a gang turf war. Despite the elaborate nature of these depictions, Heigassen is generally interpreted as comedic rather than symbolic. Some theorists suggest the scrolls might satirize the intrusion of Westerners into Japan, but this theory remains speculative. It's far more likely that the artwork was created simply to entertain. After all, the universal humor of flatulence transcends time and culture. The Heigassen scrolls also reflect the less formal aspects of Edo period society, where humor and satire were as much a part of artistic expression as high-minded cultural ideals. Unlike the serious and stoic imagery often associated with traditional Japanese art, these scrolls show a playful, irreverent side that is rarely seen. Today, the Heigassen scrolls are celebrated as a quirky and light-hearted part of Japan's artistic heritage, proving that even centuries ago, fart jokes never went out of style. Samurai Shudo. In the world of the samurai, honor, discipline, and martial prowess were central to their lives. Yet, another practice was also a deeply ingrained part of samurai culture: Shudo, or the way of the young. This custom referred to romantic and sexual relationships between experienced samurai and their young male apprentices, known as wakashu. While this might sound controversial by today's standards, Shudo was considered a natural and widely accepted aspect of samurai life during Japan's feudal era. The Shudo relationship was not only intimate, but also served as a mentorship. The wakashu, often around 10 or 11 years old, would receive rigorous training in swordsmanship, martial arts, and discipline from their samurai master. In return, the wakashu was expected to show unwavering loyalty and devotion to their mentor, both in and out of the battlefield. If the apprentice consented, their bond would be formalized through a brotherhood contract, which required monogamy between the two, at least in their same-sex relationship. However, both parties were free to pursue relationships with women, and the master could marry if he chose. The sexual component of Shudo was seen as a temporary phase. The relationship would typically end when the wakashu matured into adulthood, though the master and apprentice often remained close friends and allies for life. This mentorship and bond were considered essential for the young apprentice's path to becoming a disciplined and honorable samurai. Even legendary samurai participated in Shudo. For example, Oda Nobunaga, one of Japan's greatest unifiers, had a wakashu named Mori Ranmaru, who was famed for his loyalty and beauty. While modern perspectives view such practices with skepticism, Shudo was a normalized and celebrated part of samurai culture, blending mentorship, loyalty, and companionship. Sokushinbutsu, the practice of self-mummification, was an extreme and deeply spiritual path undertaken by certain Buddhist monks in ancient Japan. It was believed that through this grueling process, a monk could achieve ultimate enlightenment, transforming their preserved body into a revered Buddha. This practice required years of preparation, unshakable discipline, and extraordinary physical and mental fortitude. The journey began with a strict dietary regimen called moku jiki, or tree eating, where monks consumed only pine needles, tree bark, seeds, and nuts for 1,000 days. This diet served to eliminate fat, muscle, and harmful bacteria from their bodies, essentially preparing them for preservation. Following this, they would cease eating entirely, subsisting on tiny amounts of salted water for another 100 days while meditating intensively. This phase was designed to dehydrate the body, preventing decay after death. When the monk felt their end approaching, they were buried alive in a pine box, about 9 feet underground, with only a bamboo tube for air. In total darkness, the monk continued meditating, ringing a bell periodically to signal their survival. When the bell stopped, the disciples would seal the tomb and wait 1,000 days before reopening it. If the monk's body showed no signs of decay, it was deemed a success, and the preserved body was enshrined as a living Buddha. This practice was outlawed in 1879, yet a monk named Bukai defied the ban in 1903. Astonishingly, when his body was unearthed in 1961, it was perfectly mummified, achieving the revered status he sought. Today, Sokushinbutsu is viewed with both awe and horror as a testament to the extremes of faith and discipline. Some of these preserved monks remain on display in temples, serving as silent symbols of spiritual perseverance.